Hi, good day to all my viewers. For today's topic, let's discuss something that is quite important also in Marina. These are the memorandum, circulars, advisories, and notifications. All of these are basically a platform to transmit information and knowledge to the stakeholders, being you, me, all the seafarers, industry itself, so that Marina can be able to relay to them the latest, the revisions, the amendments, new developments, and all that. So join me. Let's begin. Okay. So to enable Marina and the STCW office to inform, advise, and update all stakeholders that utilize Marina and the STCW in part or as a whole in their organizational activities. This covers the entire shipping, manning, maritime schools, and all those. These are the stakeholders. The Marina releases several types of memoranda in relation to what they would like to release. Okay, so let's go to circulars or memorandum circulars. Okay, these are important notations that deal with revisions, addendum, amendments, or deletions of certain provisions in relation to any existing circular or any existing part of the STCW uh, convention, which requires a change in part of a provision or as a whole. So it can be a sentence, a paragraph, an entire article or chapter. Okay, it depends on the description of the circular. Okay, uh, those changes, especially in STCW, they will not in effect change the total function of the implementing rules and regulations. So even if there are revisions and amendments, the original IRR remains the same in essence. Okay. So moving on to advisories. Okay. Advisories are also notification released by Marina that deals with a more minor activity but nevertheless of equal importance. Notification of deadlines, the new use of new forms, etc. It also supports an existing memorandum circular at times, and they both supplement each other. So that's the difference between the advisory and the circular. Then let's go to clarificatory notifications. These are what the title implies. Okay? Clarification whether it is a line sentence or an entire paragraph of the memorandum circular. Okay? Clarificatory notes give a clear interpretation of a subject so as not to confuse the reader. Okay, so there's some subtle differences between the three, but basically these are all the platforms being used by Marina to relay any news on their activities. So when do these circulars get released by Marina? Well, in like in any government agencies, there is no specific period or season or time when memorandums will be released. If Marina deems it appropriate to release, then it shall be done. Okay? As with any official release, uh, This needs final scrutiny from the head of the agency, in this case, the administrator and the board. Okay? So the moment it gets signed, it becomes part of the rules after a certain period. Okay? And of course, while this is being made, there is a requirement that it has to go through uh, public notification. So the public can also sit down and voice out their sentiments or their concerns. Okay, that's a public hearing, and it's a requirement under the law for any circular, regardless of it being released by Marina or other agencies. So once it's done and signed off, uh, the memorandum released by Marina will have basic data included. And for that, let's try now and dissect a typical um, memorandum circular issued and released by Marina. And before I forget, there are so many memorandums floating around. Just take note that if it is not a signed document with no documentation number, that's not valid. It's not official, and therefore it should be discarded. Okay, so let's dissect it. So any circular that is released by Marina follows a standard government pattern. Okay, they just can't release it when they, when they like it. It's not complete and stuff like that. Let's dissect it now by beginning first at the top. Okay, so all circulars begin with the letterhead of the agency. In this case, it's Marina, of course. Then you have the locator numbers, which is the circular number, the year, and the number of circulars released. And underneath is a series of the year. Okay, so that's to keep track of the circulars being released. Okay, in this case, this is probably, I don't know. If you look at it, then you can determine what number of the circular and what series. Okay, and then you have the recipient, which is you guys. Okay, seafarers, ship owners, planning agencies, all stakeholders. And then after that, you have the standard subject. What is this circular referring to? Okay, so that's the subject. Okay, then after that, you have the objective and the coverage. Okay, the objective is basically it's going to tell you uh, what they're going to do, maybe to adopt or implement something. Okay, and the coverage, well, it can be only limited to uh, management level officers or operational or manning agencies, liaison officers, and stuff like that. Okay, so when you read it, you have to look at the first top part of the circular. It's indicative of where this circular is going to, whom is it referring to, what is its objective, and then what they intend to do. Okay? Then let's go now to the definition of terms. Why do you need that? Well, because in the circular there's several terms that are going to be used, and to avoid misinterpretation with regard to that particular circular, they will define some terms as understood by Marina. So definition of terms is important because it doesn't give a vague description. It gives a specific description for a certain thing that is interpreted in no other way except this definition in this circular. So there you go. That is the definition of terms. And then after the definition of terms, then you have the general provisions. Sometimes this is also followed by specific provisions. Well, this provision part of the circular are basically containing the essence of needed to implement and execute this circular by the recipients. That means you. So general provisions and sometimes specific provisions tell you what to do in order to comply with this circular. So that's general provisions. Now, moving on to the tail end of the circular, these provisions include, most of the time, but not always, the transition provision, penalty, and repealing provisions, and effectivity provision. Okay? Transitory provisions, meaning when this will move from the old previous circular regarding the same topic here to the new, as transition. Okay? Then you have the usual penalty clause for non-compliance, okay, with corresponding fees and charges. It's all located there. Then you have repealing clause. This repealing clause will tell you, once this becomes in effect, all the previous circulars which are inconsistent with this new one are deemed repealed and or superseded accordingly. So take note, but maybe you're using already an old circular as basis for your discussion, knowing unknowingly there are new circulars that superseded it. So this is quite important too. And then you have the effectivity clause, okay, or effectivity provisions. This will come basically as when it states that this will take effect immediately after a certain period or after publication in a in a nationwide newspaper broadsheet. So then it becomes effective. Okay. Uh, while we are looking at this now in its context, let us bear in mind that these circulars come and go. Okay, so what may be valid before may be superseded now. Case in point, the previous administration issued an advisory suspending the need for use of the 2018 series of management level courses and assessment training prior to the sitting of their highest management level examination. That was number 8. Ceased implementing the previous memorandum circulars. And recently, there was a new advisory that rescinded this and brought back again the 2018 memorandum circulars, the series that required seafarers wanting to sit for their examinations, especially management, have to take again MLC courses and do practical assessment. So you see, and the period was not so far in between. So, well, it caused a lot of ruckus and confusion that I had to make a previous video regarding that. So that's how dynamic the circulars and advisories go. So in conclusion, understanding the mechanics and dynamics of Marina circulars and its process, okay, of developing circulars and advisories will help you as stakeholders to make sense of all these memorandums. okay? Because they contain directives. Well, it's a well-known and documented fact that the seafarer, once he's on land, has doesn't have the luxury of time. Okay, so one of the easiest ways to resolve this is to go online whilst you are still aboard, because the internet services are available worldwide, and go into the Marina STCW office web. Okay, and looking at it, you can either say for particular circular that deals with your career, and it requires you to take this thing and that thing and upgrade here and upgrade there. The question posed is, on your end, is this necessary at this point for me? Do I have to take it? Is this an upgrade in the STCW on a specific training course? Okay. Will this enhance my chances to the next level at this point? The first and second, that can be answered basically by just reading the circulars regarding training, education, and career. But the third one is, I think, just by the enhancement word, that is the decision of each individual seafarer. Okay, and also it is dependent on the requirements of your ship management company. So different ship managements have different ways of building their seafarer's career path, and that's up to you as a seafarer or any of the stakeholders. But bear in mind. And on that note, I say thank you for watching. Okay, I hope it has been very informative to all the stakeholders out there. And before I would bid you all farewell, I would like to push these two new publications that are now available in the market. So if you can check them out, it's in the online shopping, and it's available in the graduate school of the Philippine Merchant Marine Academy. So until the next time we shall meet again, bon voyage. Thank you for your time. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and stay safe to you out there. Thank you, and goodbye.